You might be disappointed.
Oh no! Hey everybody! Hey everybody! I am honored beyond belief to introduce my new friend Hannah Hussein, who is the new face, beautiful face of women's fitness and bodybuilding, and is ushering a new era. I found a website, Hannah. There are 100 women identified as being part of this movement, yourself included, and that's amazing. Some of them go back as far as Rachel McGlish. Now, I'm I'm Zenny 62, and I'm also 62 now. That's sort of a weird hat trick, right? Um, and I've been a women's bodybuilding fan since I was 14 years old. 14, and back then, it was finding the fans. They weren't like vocal about it, right? But as Women's Physique World became a magazine and a thing, and I had a subscription, and many others did, uh, the popularity built rather rapidly. And then, of course, the internet came along. You're used to the internet, right? And born in what, 85, 86?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I was 1990.
Yeah. 1990. Yeah. So I say 85, but yeah, 1990. But the whole point is you're used to, because DARPA invented the internet in 94. AOL came about in 97, 90, 96, really. Yeah. Somewhere in there. Actually, before that, they had internet component. And so anyway, I'm at the birthplace of all of this. And I can remember when one of the first sets of images that hit were images of women who were bodybuilders. And I mean, they were tasteful. It really set the tone for what we see today. And but still, it wasn't the norm, and you didn't see it in the magazines. And now, just completely different, right? It's amazing. It's something else. So I'm going to start out by asking you, first of all, well, where were you born and where'd you grow up?
I was born in Florida, Titusville, Florida, to be exact. It's got the Kennedy Space Center. A lot of people have no idea where it is. Small town, the Space Center is there. We moved to Houston, Texas, which is
wait. Excuse me. You grew up near the Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah.
You saw these things go up.
Yes, they shook. It would rattle our windows in our house.
Wait. Stop the press. I want to hear about this because I'm a junkie going all the way back to the Apollo missions.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean that's like way my wheelhouse.
So yeah, like all of my friends' parents and stuff. The reason we were there was because of my stepdad's job. He worked for Boeing. And so he obviously, Boeing and NASA work very closely together. And so I guess the contracts he worked were with NASA specifically. So when they shut down the program down there at the Kennedy Space Center, they moved us here to Houston, which is the other, another space center out here. It was between here and Alabama because they also have a space center there.
But you're a space center in Houston, right? That's where you're at.
I live next to like 15 minutes from NASA here.
Whoa. Well, so how far are you from Elon Musk's launches?
I believe his are in Florida because.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So because the last time I was in Florida, I saw one.
Oh, what was that? What was that like? Yeah, what was that like?
It was pretty cool. Like we didn't go to the actual launch. We just saw it from where we were because my older sister still lives in the area that I grew up in. So she's still right next to everything. And I was visiting her. So yeah, I grew up around, I've always been around space, NASA.
Yeah. Did you want to work for NASA? Did you have a favorite astronaut? Or...
I liked the twins, the Kelly twins.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool because then they were the first, like, I want to say the first, like, they did a test or an experiment with one of them went to space and then the other one stayed on Earth. And because they were twins, they could see how the effects of space, affected the human body. I always thought that was cool. And I'm also a twin.
Right.
So.
That's right. Wow.
But as far as like wanting to be an astronaut, I never really wanted to. I'm terrified of flying. I'm terrified of heights, so that wouldn't have worked out.
That's funny. See, I love flying, but I'm terrified of heights. Go
Yeah.
figure. I mean, that's the
Why do
verdict.
you love flying then?
Yeah, I don't. I think it's like because I'm in a tube, right?
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I've been in the cockpit of 747. But I can't. But if you were to say to me, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. The zip lines?
Yes.
I can't do the zip lines.
See, I can do the zip lines. Don't scare me nearly as much as like being in a metal box in the air.
Huh? That's wild.
Attached to something.
I can't. Like I remember I was going. I put this on video because I vlog everything, and I was in the Embarcadero in San Francisco, and they had this zip line. It was maybe about 1,000 feet, and I'm walking up to do this, and the thing that I'm walking up was so rickety, and it got more rickety the higher I went. Yeah. And I had my camera on me, and I'm thinking, no, I didn't care. I can't do this, folks. Because I'm just thinking this thing's gonna rickety part, and I'm gonna be down on the ground.
Yeah.
And I just said no, chickened out completely.
You didn't do it.
No, look, if it's a percentage chance that I'm gonna die in that way, guess what? I don't care if it's 99% safe. There's that 1% I'm thinking about. I'm like, forget it. I'll go. I don't know. Go away. I'll go have deep dish pizza or something. No, I just can't do it.
I went on the last time I was in Vegas. I went on the zip line, and that one's kind of short, so I mean it's not scary. But zip lines don't.
Wait! You went the Fremont Street one downtown?
Yeah.
You think that's short?
It felt short. I don't know.
Oh my Lord! I get dizzy just thinking about it.
Yeah, but like getting on a regular plane bothers me. So go figure.
Wow, that's we got to work on that.
Yeah, trust me, I've tried, but anyway, so
maybe a good stiff cocktail. I don't know.
I've tried anti-anxiety drugs. It really help, but yeah, so that's why I never wanted to be an astronaut. And it never really like, I mean, I always thought it was cool, but I thought it was cool for like other people to go to, like I'll cheer and watch it, I'll watch the launches. The launches are always cool. As a kid, I hated it though, because if I didn't know there was a launch gonna happen that day and it would shake the windows, it would scare the crap out of me.
Oh God, I just want to feel that once because I grew up in the Bay Area, Oakland, and I remember my first earthquake when I was 14 years old, and it was in the middle of class, and I jumped under the seat only to realize that everybody was laughing their butts off, and I felt like such a fool.
But it was during an earthquake.
Yeah.
So isn't that what you're supposed to do?
That's exactly the point. See, that's the thing about living in the Bay Area, okay? The test of a person who is not from the Bay Area.
Oh, okay, because they're used to them. Okay.
Right. And there's a movie with Steve Martin, and it's LA Stories, I think it is. But anyway, there's an earthquake scene in it. And because they're all having lunch at Sardi's, I think it was Sardi's in Hollywood, and all of a sudden this earthquake comes up and they're eating, right? And but they're still eating like nothing is happening, and even they're going, "Oh, what did you say? Oh, that's great, yeah." And it stops, and they still go on about their motion. That is how you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be some blithering, scared idiot like me.
But what if it's a really bad one? Like, what if it's one that you're like, you have to, that's gonna like shake stuff off of shelves and stuff? How do they know it's not gonna be that bad? Is my question.
Today, well, seriously, it's still the same. It's kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Did you video it?
So they never have like super bad ones?
Well, we had one. Yeah, I was in it. In fact, that's a good question. 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. I was walking down Bancroft in Berkeley, on the way to BART to meet my clients, and literally going downhill. It's a long downhill. This is where Cal is, the university, and you could see Bancroft rolling toward you up, like like that. It was freaky, and it happened like that, and it went like, and it went right by me, and I went whoa, and it was so jarring that the man I passed by and I started to try to communicate. Now you would say, "What do you mean, Zenny?" Well, very simple. He spoke not a lick of English, and I spoke not a lick of Spanish, and yet we were like, "You speak that? Yeah, 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 yeah." You know, and it was wild. That was so you when you're in quakes like that and they happen that way, yeah, you react to them because they produce these phenomena that don't happen every day. It's not every day the street is rolling up in your face.
Yeah.
You know, so it's stuff like that. And oh, I gotta ask, are you from a big family?
Yeah, pretty big. I have a twin sister. I have an older sister. I have two half sisters, and then one brother that is full, like, from the same mom and dad, and I have a stepbrother. So pretty big.
Yeah. Oh, so your last name is Hussein. So I'm thinking I know Barack Obama. Barack, is it, are you Hussein by Middle Eastern designation or?
Yeah. So my biological father, and I just kept, I've never been married, so I just kept the last name, was from Lebanon.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so is he from, wow, so Lebanon, I got to ask you, given that, what do you think about the events going on in the Mideast and everything else?
I don't like it. My dad's sister is, the last time I saw her, she was very upset about what's going on over there because part of her family, I guess, her husband's family, a lot of their, they had like shops and stuff are all gone. So it's not good.
It's, did you, I'm going to shift gears from that. What started you on the course toward bodybuilding?
I don't really know what came first. Like, the kind of the, I would say, defining moment. One of the defining moments that was like, okay, I see this goal that I want to attain, which was a bodybuilding magazine. Okay, so I've been trying to find this stupid magazine forever because I bought it when I was like 16. But I've never, obviously I've lost it since then. I don't know where it is.
Is it online? Is it someplace?
I think it was, okay, because there's like no muscle and fitness magazines around anymore, or at least they're not made anymore.
Huh.
Do you remember the old muscle and fitness?
Oh, like yeah, sure do.
You would like see them in the stores. You don't see them in stores anymore.
Right. No, they're hard to find in stores, but I think they're still, I thought they were still in print though.
I think most of them aren't.
Wow. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, this is currently, there's a website, Muscle and Fitness.
Yeah, right? The website's still up, but I don't think,
like old magazines.
Yeah, like I don't think they produce magazines anymore.
Yeah. Let's see here. Some of his old magazines. Let me see, folks. Here's what Hannah's talking about. I'll show you.
But there was one specific one, and it had a female at this. I mean, I'm sure it was either bodybuilding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe not quite that old because it was, I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was in the 2000s. And it was black and white, and a blonde woman on the cover, and she was doing rows. And we've been trying to. I think we might have found her, but I still have not found the original magazine.
She was blonde. That sounds like, let's see. I wonder if that's Tanya Knight. Muscle and Fitness. Tanya Knight recently died of cancer. She was one of my favorites. Tanya Knight. Let's see if we can images. There's Flex. There isn't anything black and white yet. Does she look familiar, like the person?
Yeah, it definitely could have been her.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause she was super popular. It was Tanya Knight. And there was one other who's just flew out of my mind. Because I remember the first photograph I saw of a woman bodybuilder. She was in jean shorts on a couch in Women's Physique World. And you can find Women's Physique World. They actually have those cataloged online today.
Okay.
You know, so but that's what got you, and that's what struck you.
Yeah. So like I'd always been athletic. I did gymnastics. I did I was training for a triathlon. That's why I was in a gym in the first place when I was a young teen. And then I started training with a trainer. Like, so the whole long story is I was in a gym training for a triathlon. I decided to go like into the weight area because normally it was a 24-hour fitness, and normally when I would go in, I would just do cardio because, you know, I didn't know how to do anything else, and I wasn't, you know, I was training for a triathlon. So, and I just decided one day to go use a machine, and so I go use the machine, and I was doing it so wrong that one of the personal trainers came up to me and was like, "Here, let me show you how to use this." And then he kind of offered to help. He kind of offered to help me train and stuff. And he showed me some things, and I just fell in love with it. Like, it was so much easier than running on a treadmill and so much more fun. And then I started doing that for a little while, probably about 6 months. And then I see this magazine at the place I work. When I was 16, I was a cashier at a grocery store. And I see this magazine, and I'm so like in awe by it because I never saw a woman with that much muscle before. Like and I grew up like with very limited computer access and TV access. So my mom was very, very strict. We weren't allowed to watch more than 30 minutes of TV a day.
Wow, that is strict.
And so, and remember, this was back when we had computers with dial-up. So if someone was on the phone,
yeah,
you weren't really allowed to be on the computer at all anyway. So I was very sheltered. And I'd never seen an athletic woman in my life. Like, my mom is pretty athletic as far as like she rides bikes, but you know, she's not much. Her arms are this big. Still, I've always been this big. She can't do a push-up. Okay, so like that was the norm. The women that I interacted with every day, it was normal for them not do one push-up, not one push-up. But to me now it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I saw this magazine, completely blown away by it. I bought it, brought it home, and my mom, the first like interaction, my mom saw it, and she was like, "What is this?" I was like, "I just, you know, I'm starting to weight train or whatever I said to her." And she was like, "You don't want to look like that, do you?" And I was like, the way she said it, I was like, "No, of course not." And she was like, "Good, because that's gross."
Poor thing.
And so from then on, I hid it, right? So I still, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I have to look like that. And but I tried to hide that I wanted to look like that because I was taught very early on that was not acceptable, right?
Wow.
So that was kind of that was early years.
I gotta ask, how much of that being not acceptable comes from some idea that women are supposed to be weaker than men? Is that what it is?
I don't think I really understood at the time of why it wasn't, you know. I think like I don't think I could back then articulate why. I just knew no other woman that I knew um was muscular in any way. None of them desired to be muscular. And then, you know, I had people like my mom saying it was gross. Why? I don't know. I was never given an explanation. It just was, you know. So, and I think, yeah, if I were to think about it, why were the people around me not okay with it? Maybe it was because, you know, it was expected for women to be weaker than men. Maybe it was because we're expected to be, you know, soft. I don't know. It's probably all of it, right? But at the time, I just knew all I knew was I wanted to look like that, but I also didn't want to admit it.
You know,
So,
you just hit me on something unknowingly, because I grew up in Chicago in a predominantly black neighborhood. And between that and my mom was a dancer when before she had me. Um, and then of course there was my favorite character was Star Trek with Lieutenant Uhura, who had the legs.
oh,
I don't know if you remember the short skirts and everything.
yeah.
Okay, well I had that poster on my wall of her. And who actually later interviewed Michelle Nichols, rest in peace. It was in 2009. It's actually on the YouTube channel here. But that's what I grew up with women who had legs like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that, as I realize it now, decades later, you know, that really informed my idea of beauty. I wasn't, uh, it happened later when we came out to California, of course, but by then, my idea of what was beautiful was formed,
Mm.
right? Uh, and so I always sought after a woman that looked like that, regardless of color.
Yeah.
And so I was naturally attracted to gymnasts, and this and that was before women's bodybuilding became a thing, you know. Um, but yeah, it's funny how your your background and culture informs what you think is beautiful,
Yeah.
and that's it. So when did you? What was the aha moment when you finally decided to go into it, where you became, you know, you said, "Hey, I want to get buffed."
Mm. Um, I mean, at at that young age, I already knew I did. I think wasn't sure if I was capable of it because you know, I did not know how to train. I was working with that trainer, but I didn't even admit it to him that I wanted to like be very muscular. You know, to him, I just wanted to be in shape. It wasn't until like um, probably close to 20 years old that I went all in, and um, I think that's because I also had the freedom. So I moved out very early. I moved out at 17
Hmm.
and then moved back in with my stepdad when my stepdad and my mom got a divorce in that time. And
Hmm.
when she moved out, I moved back in.
Hmm.
But I was only home for like a year until I moved out again because he was selling the house and moving. And
Wow.
so I then had to move. And it wasn't until I moved out on my own that all of a sudden I was like, I'm not going to be judged by anybody. You know, the people that I'm around every day are the ones that I'm choosing to be around. Um, and so that's when momentum really started to, uh,
Build. Yeah.
and because I'd been working out all that time, people would come up to me before I even knew what competing was. People would come up to me and ask if I competed, and I was like, I don't know what that is. Um, and then I had a friend that all that time from 16 on, I was weight training in some way, in some shape or form. And so I did look very athletic. I wasn't big, but I was very athletic looking. It wasn't until a friend of mine who did compete gave me the name of a nutritionist, which ended up being my first coach.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went in just for nutrition because my friend that gave me his name was like, I was not eating good, and he knew this. So I was being a 20-year-old, but training. So I was doing all the bad things, like I was drinking. I was not eating like M&Ms for breakfast, but I was training hard. And so he was like, "You put in all this work at the gym. Just go, go get some counseling on nutrition. Just do it." And so I did, and I walked into this nutritionist's office, and he was like, "Are you here for prep?" And I was like, "No, I'm here for nutrition." He was like, "What? You got to compete." He was like, "You got those shoulders. You got to compete." And
Yeah, those shoulders are built now. That's like, wow. Well,
so they were always capped. So my shoulders, like even when I was doing gymnastics, super young, they were always capped. And so he convinced me to compete. He actually ended up sponsoring me. I did really, really well. I got second place at my very first show. He wouldn't even let me do novice because he thought it wasn't going to be fair to the other competitors.
he's like he's hiding like you're his secret weapon.
Yeah. But so he was my first coach, and that's who got me into competing. Also, like, unfortunately, his intentions were very good, but he was not a great coach. He kept me far too lean for too long. He completely cut out all dietary fats, which ended up causing me thyroid issues down the road. And so,
have you been able to recover from that?
I still have hypothyroidism. I'm never gonna not be able to take medication for it.
Oh, explain to our viewers what hypothyroidism is. What is that?
So basically, it's when your thyroid hormone doesn't produce enough. It's called You have T3 and T4, and that's what gives your cells energy. My thyroid does not produce enough because it was suppressed for so long hormonally. Because what dietary fats does is support hormone function, and so I was getting zero dietary fat. My cholesterol tanks, my thyroid tanks, my testosterone tanked, and because it was prolonged, my thyroid never started producing hormone on its own, and so that is a risk. That it's it's a pretty big risk for everyone who competes. Some people, when it's done right, though, you're not completely eliminating fats from your diet. Like even in prep now, when I got my pro card, I didn't take the dietary fat completely out. It was low, but it was not completely out for hormone function, for hormone regulation. And so when it's done wrong, the way he did, it can have a lot of, obviously a lot of effects that you don't want. So basically my thyroid just doesn't produce enough hormone. And that's critical to every bodily function. If your thyroid is tanked, your body will have a hard time doing everything.
Yeah. Are you changing your diet for that? Because that can, as you get older, become an issue too,
As long as I'm taking my medication and as long as I keep up with, like I get labs every 6 months.
Yeah.
It shouldn't cause me any problems as I get older, as long as I keep up with, how it's functioning. And because I've had to adjust it a couple times, and sometimes it spontaneously will produce more hormone, and I need less medication. So it's just something I'm going to have to watch for the rest of my life. But I don't think it's going to be something that's going to hold me back, because it hasn't so far since I've figured it out, and since I've been able to, monitor it and take the appropriate medication for it.
Is also working out as you do, is that something that stabilizes the issue
Um,
because you're stronger? I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think that really has anything to do with it because
okay.
anyone can develop hypothyroidism and it can also be hereditary. So you can develop it like, just for running in your family.
Hmm.
Mine, you know, I don't have a family history of it. So and it also happened right after my prep with him. My prolonged prep because it was my first one and I had no idea. I was just listening to everything he said.
Hmm.
So I had no idea how to do it right. I had no idea it wasn't normal to go into an off season and still have no fat in your diet.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something typical. That's typical, right?
Huh.
And so no, I don't think so if you're in a caloric deficit, if you're not eating enough for a prolonged period of time, that can affect your thyroid production. But I don't believe weight training does.
Yeah, I just happened to look it up as you were talking, and it says, however, resistance training can help improve muscle function and body composition in people with hypothyroidism. It can also help with weight gain by improving muscle mass. So it sounds like, hey, maybe you're benefiting from, being a bodybuilder,
Yeah, well, I mean, weightlifting is going to benefit everything, in my opinion. And usually from a health perspective, it does typically, right? But as far as like producing itself producing the hormone, you're like helping my thyroid produce the hormone on its own. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I've never heard that, but I could be wrong.
And I just looked it up and the AI kind of popped up and
Okay.
and it was like pro and con, but the con was what you were saying, but the pro was like, hey, wait a minute. On
Yeah.
the other hand, it was quite literally the opposite. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, this works, too. Definitely. Hey, so show us your guns. Let's see where you're at.
I'm in a sweater right now. I don't know
Oh,
how
or can we see through the sweater? I mean, like,
it's kind of back here.
let's give you a solo layout so you get the full body.
Do this. And I'm sorry my screen is shaking. You guys are on a box.
Oh,
Here you go.
wow. And that's off season.
Yeah, it's off season.
Bravo.
Thanks.
Bravo. Let's get you
I
back.
should have wore something different. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Cool. Yeah. And so as you work out, who do you admire? Who do you pattern your workouts after? Your look, your stage presence?
I don't really pattern it by anybody. Like I do have a lot of idols. I do have a lot of women that I look up to, but I don't really copy anyone's workouts. I will sometimes like Andrea Shaw, she's Olympia right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do watch a lot of her workouts and I do incorporate some of it into mine, but I don't copy all of her workouts because we have very different, like her arms are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That arms are one of my weak points. And so, I need to, we have different, I feel like she doesn't have any weak points, but, our training styles are different. They need to be, in my opinion. And also, I don't really do my own training. I used to do all my own training. Now I have a coach that trains with me. And it's been really helpful.
That's Andrea Shaw, folks, by the way, if you want a reference. So
her arms are huge.
Yeah, that's her wings of strength there. And muscular development. I don't know why this is not, Google's got its own issues. But anyway, it does shift to Instagram, and so there she is. Yeah. So that's not her, obviously, folks, but that's some video. But down here, yeah, there we go. There she is. Yes.
Corina Bodifin.
Absolutely. Can't have that one. So I'm going to have to exit that one and say no. Sorry. Cut that off. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Cool. All right. And so, have you met her, by the way?
I have not met her. No, I've talked to her on Instagram, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's good. She's pleasant person. I haven't met her.
She seems super sweet.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people. So, yeah, definitely. Who else? Anybody else?
I love Theresa. She's been somebody that I've kind of looked up to. And when I first like started getting recognized in the industry, a lot of people thought we had similar physiques because we both have pretty strong backs.
Yeah.
Margie, she goes by Marvelous Margie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
She's retired now, but she was somebody I really looked up to. But yeah, I don't really, because we all have such different structures that I don't feel it would be wise for me to like completely copy somebody else's style, somebody else's training, because I'm never gonna be anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about bodybuilding is like you can train exactly the same as somebody and come up with different results because we all have different muscle insertions, we all have different quality muscle, we have different looks to our there's just so many variations that
different genetics.
Yeah. And genetics play such a big role that like training hard is training hard, but like I would never want to copy somebody's style. I also wouldn't want to steal from them,
Makes sense.
like as far as routine, looks, things like that. I've always kind of came up with my own thing. Because I feel like and also there's not very many of us, compared to the general population. So if I were to copy somebody, or if I feel like if somebody were to copy someone else, they could be called out pretty easily. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
So to you, because to me, it seems like there's more women bodybuilders than ever.
Yeah.
And maybe that, I don't know if it's a function of my age or whatever, but you can go to a store randomly and see a woman that works out and tell. I don't mean works out like just lifts, but it works out like at some point they were competing or going to compete. And then it seems like there are these, and I want to talk to you about that too, contests that spring up here and there. I mean, I believe women's bodybuilding is a $5 billion industry. And I say that because of the internet. And I remember when I go back to when Gene Huang's a photographer, we call him Gene X. And he, and then Jason, I forgot Jason's last name. Has it been that long? But at any rate, they got together and started FT Fitness, and the website's still up. And they had the photographs, and they had there was this idea of having internet-based contests, and they did that once, and it was really great because my thought was, and this predates what happens now, except what happens now is more individual. It's OnlyFans level. But in terms of a group where you actually are judging women and there was a prize, I said, this goes back, my goodness, this goes back to, I think we had this argument in 2002. I felt the prize money should be like 150 grand. Just for first place, not total, right? But today, that's still. Have you seen a contest where that's the case?
No, and to be honest, I don't think we're going to.
Okay, tell me why, because I wanna fight that.
Yeah, me too. I just because if you keep, or if you've paid attention to like the shows the last couple of years, the prize money for the women doesn't really go up. And I really think yes, online it's big, but it doesn't necessarily translate into tickets sold, which is what the industry is worried about, right? Because there's still a business, the IFBB, the NPC, there's still a business. And so in my mind, there's not enough tickets being sold for the women.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they've literally said that the industry have, they've said that they're increasing the prize money through the categories that bring in the most money, because that, makes sense. Unless they're just straight up lying about that, I don't know. But it doesn't, to me, like, yes, there's money in it, but I don't think it's through the shows, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think, see, my thought was something that was more virtual. And for example, I would have a segment with wardrobe, but the wardrobe would be such that the women watching it to buy the wardrobe, which would then a cut would go to the producers, which would then also go to the contestants through the prize money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you could actually see what was the latest in was being worn, modeled by some of the best, hottest women, most fit women in the world in a contest, right? And that would be one segment. And then the point is that the people watching it will be able to essentially bid on it by who they gave their money to by watching it. And so, that adds to what they're going to get on base. But theoretically, you could get a lot more pre-show and then show. What I mean by that is pre-show, you'd have all photographs of all the contestants and your favorites. And then there's the actual event. And now I'm at the point now where I'm thinking about other parts of it as I unfold it, because now I'm getting excited about the thing all over again, because what occurs to me is we have sports betting. And you can now bet on, you can imagine being able to bet on which women bodybuilder wins a contest. Right? I mean, it's my point is, I don't think we've fleshed it out.
Yeah, like we haven't played with it enough to, like, basically exhaust all opportunity.
Right. Because I mean, think about it. How could someone clock in? I think was this woman whose name just escaped my mind. She made 43 million on OnlyFans. I mean, that's cool.
In bodybuilding, or just somebody?
No, just normal. But I'm saying, just she's bathing suit. But you look at her, and that form didn't attract me.
Yeah.
All right. But there was some guy who spent $4 million on her. So I'm thinking there's got to be an equivalency as well for bodybuilders. There are people out there who will do that if they're presented in the right online medium. And I'm convinced we haven't. Well, if we had done it, we'd heard about it. Yeah. I'm convinced we haven't done it. And
yeah. And I think there's just less of an audience for women's bodybuilding in general, because it doesn't appeal to the masses, at least not right now, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I
don't know.
Tell me I'm an idiot. That's okay. Here's what catches me. The number of followers that the FBBs have on Instagram, for example, and the fact that they're some of the largest following groups there are. And advertisers would pay for that if it were presented in the right way.
Yeah.
Right? But it hasn't been done yet. Now, someone would say, Zinni, why don't you do it? And I suppose my question was, why do I have to go it alone? And which gets to my issue. I have talked about this for years, but everyone has these silos, Hannah. They want to stay in their little silos, and we don't have this organizing body that says, hey, you know what? We're coming together for one purpose, because we know that this can make a ton of money, and these women deserve a ton of money. That's two purposes, right? That's all I'm saying. it bothers me that we don't have that kind of mindset collectively. Not, but the good news, I think, is that when you articulate that objective, like I am, everyone says, yeah, 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 yeah. So it's I haven't. Well, actually, you're the first I've talked to about this way, because but that's why I think it can be done. I see it's a tech problem that I think can be solved. Yeah.
I do think you have a point there, because I do notice that a lot of, and I don't know if it's like a competitor thing or what, but like a lot of us don't know how to, one, market ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and two, create virality, because like, okay, good example is Andrea Shaw. She's got a good following, but it's nothing like, say, Chris Bumstead, who knows how to advertise himself, and is create. Maybe he's a bad example, because everyone knows who he is already, but some of the viral people, fitness influencers that don't even compete, and arguably, in my opinion, aren't even more aesthetically pleasing than Andrea is, but they have more followers and they've gotten more views on videos because they know how to do something that just a training video isn't going to do.
Right.
So I think that's fair. If like we don't know how to present ourselves or represent the industry, because the stuff we have for the women's side, at least the bodybuilding side, because bikini, I don't even know if they really have, if they make that much money either. I'm not sure. I'm not educated with that side, but yeah, we just might be a lack of knowledge when it comes to virality or presentation or something, and it's just eyes are not on it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to get around that, because I have a decent following, but it's kind of just by chance. Like, I've never really had anything go super viral. Like, I've never had anything get 1 million views. Like, I've seen some videos get that, don't even really make much sense to me, but yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that's a function of whatever platform it happens to be on.
Yeah.
But I always thought, like, for example, I've seldom seen press releases written to promote women bodybuilders, and there has to be a focused public relations level style or presentation. I think that's lacking. I mean, it has been piecemeal, and for the most part, from a layperson's perspective, to put it fairly.
And
Actually,
a couple months ago, November, I actually was asked to speak at a college.
Oh,
yeah, it was funny. My speech was the biggest turnout they'd had, and people stayed almost 2 hours after. Yeah, people stayed almost 2 hours after for the Q&A, and they said that, like, that's the longest people have stayed after a presentation to ask questions. It was amazing. And so maybe
wait. So it begs what did you say?
So they just wanted me to, they kind of just left it up to me. They kind of left it up to how I wanted to tell my story. And so I basically just went there and talked about how I got into bodybuilding, like what kind of goes into it. And a ton of people were interested. Like, the whole thing was full, and people stayed afterwards to ask me questions, mostly about training and things like that. But it was a great turnout. And so that alone tells me that there is interest in it,
Do you realize, did you stop and think about how many women or people, men and women in general, you influenced?
I mean, I haven't really, no, not really.
That's your money right there.
Yeah.
That's your speaking circuit. And
I'm
I didn't think about that.
Like, I don't know if I could do that consistently. I don't feel like I'm very good at it.
And yet they're lining around the block to hear you.
Yeah, but they didn't, you know, they've never heard me before, so they've never, you know, I don't know. But
you think they're not going to come back again? It's like, well,
I don't know if they were given the chance to come back. I don't know if they would, you know.
I beg to differ. I think you're on to something. It never occurred to me, the speaking circuit. And that's a simple thing you can do.
That is a good idea. I've never even thought about it.
You can do it in person. You can do it online. Yeah. You could, that's it. That's it. I think you hit on it. I really think you hit on it. There it is. But also there needs to be a company. There's a business model. There's a business model in there. You know, there really is. But also I think, but how much of it is, I think here's what gets me too is like there's sites like Her Biceps Cam, which, you know, I'm on, and I say that openly because I think it's great.
I'm on it too. I came on.
Yeah. See, yeah. But what's the stigma other people have, including models, about it? I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, we're in a society where you watch ESPN and the announcers using the S word. Go figure, right? I mean, my point is, maybe the key is some combination of that and a speaking circuit site and something else. But what's holding it back? I mean, what do you like about it and what do you dislike about it?
About Her Biceps?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I dislike is not being able to take home 100% of what I make. But I mean, I love camming.
Yeah.
I personally don't have a problem with anything of that nature. And if the audience doesn't know what we're talking about, it's a fetish. It's a flexing fetish. I don't have any I don't have any problem with it. You know, it can get it can take up an evening for sure. That's one of the downsides about it. But you know, morally, I see things a little bit different than most people, I feel like, when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I personally think it can be absolutely healthy to indulge in certain aspects of what you enjoy.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to say things in a way that you're not going to get demonetized on YouTube.
Right. Thank you. That's okay.
But yeah, I don't see anything morally wrong with it. As long as everyone on there is a consenting adult and everyone's having fun, I think it's great.
And I think it's great that some of the most incredible women bodybuilders have been on it and are on it. And it's a great place because I don't believe that the standard of beauty that I'm fed is the standard. I never did. I believe the standard of beauty is there. You know, and I have for a long, long time. It just, what my misgiving is, and that's why I thought maybe I should start my own site, but I'm not in that direction. You know, I think about it, but my site would be entirely different. It would be more like Vogue. Yeah. You know, it would present it in a way where it was obviously mainstream, tied with brands, which I think is missing. That's because they're brands that, I mean, brands come after you to promote stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why not incorporate it into that? You know what I mean? There's a lot that's missing there. And so it comes down to, well, you know, I want to see this and, you know, that and all that. But what's the difference between that and going to a modeling show, really? Right?
Yeah.
Or anything else. You know, there's I think because we're too tied up in this Puritan stuff, if you will, we miss the opportunities that are presented by what this technology allows us to do and to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to work on getting over. Mike Exton deserves to have competition, a lot of it. You know, you hear that, Mike? But it's for the good of the women who are involved. I mean, and I believe if we do it that way, we can really continue this movement of the redefinition of the standard of beauty, because that it's already happening.
Yeah.
You know, it's already happening. You know, and so wouldn't it be great to have a magazine based on it? You're up there, and there's a new perfume that you're modeling. It's called Hannah. You know, I mean, there are a lot of possibilities. They're just exciting. You know, you start to think about it from that commercialized standpoint.
Yeah.
It's and that is the way. Hey, so are you by the way, what are you doing to, if you want to share, if you don't know, make money, or is this how, you know?
It is how.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Online. Everything I do is online. So I do her biceps. I cam for them. I try to get on every weekend. I do OnlyFans. And then I also have sponsors. I get paid through some of the supplement companies I work with and some of the clothing or shoe companies that I work with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything for me is online.
You have a YouTube channel as well?
No,
You don't?
I don't have a YouTube channel. Like I have a a profile on there, but I've never posted a video. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I don't know how to get started, to honestly.
Oh, yeah, YouTube, because I've been on YouTube since April 20, well, actually really 2005 was when I first started my first YouTube channel. And then Zenny, that wasn't this one. Zenny 62 started in the first video that went up here was April 21st of 2006. I was invited to be a YouTube partner, but the divisions were different then. For example, 65% of the revenue, originally starting out with 70%, came to me. Now, if you do horizontal, it's 55%. If you do vertical, it's 45%. The YouTube shorts, which I have an issue with, because I feel like they're trying to be like TikTok, and TikTok, you can't make money on TikTok. I haven't. Maybe you've experienced something different.
I don't even use TikTok, no.
Yeah, see, but YouTube, like I pulled in as much as 4,000 a month. But then the percentage was different. There are people who are experiencing that now, with regular format, you know. Also, I will say there are people who buy followers, buy subscribers. I don't recommend buying the followers, but I do recommend buying a small percentage of subscribers, because there's a replacement factor. In other words, if you buy, let's say, 100 subscribers, over time, for some odd reason, those 100 that you bought will be actually added to by another 100 that are real.
On YouTube? On YouTube?
Yeah. Now, I have right now 51,889, something more than that. Of those, only once did I bought 4,000. That was way back in 2007. That's the only time I bought it. The secret is to consistently vlog about something. Now, you would say what that something would be. I suggest news. You could be strong girl vlogging the news. There's a weird title, right? what is this from a strong girl's perspective? Well, a strong girl says, and I just came that off the top of my head, and that sounds so nutty. I think that, huh?
Like actual news, like
Yeah, strong girl think what does strong girl think about the New Orleans terror attack, right? Something like that, you know. Oh, I beat the terrorist up, you know, something like, right? I mean, it could be funny, you know. I mean, if you think about it, yeah. So, but you have to do it consistently. There are people who say you shouldn't YouTube daily. No, you should.
I don't think I would be able to do daily. I don't even do Instagram daily.
Well, this is me. I just because I vlog everything, and I'll 10 seconds or whatever, you know. I and then I vlog everything, and like this video here becomes a post someplace else, right? Automatically, and on all of our sites. I think this is on zenireport.com. So I highly recommend it, and I'm happy to help you. In fact, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Our system works such that when I build the live stream here, it automatically comes up here as a post. See that?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that's on Zenny Report. Now we have 100 websites. But that's you. So if I go down and and I click on the title here and open it, boom, it's open, and then scroll down. There's this, and if I click on it, see that?
Oh, that's us, like right now.
That's us right now. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is.
That's the system I built.
Okay.
Yeah, and quite proud of it. And I've only scratched the surface of what we're capable of technically. I'm working on improving it all the time, maybe too much. My number one job is caregiver to my mom, you know. But my point is that there is a technical way. I mean, with YouTube, you should be on YouTube. I object to any organization that entices you with just the view count, but they don't pay you for it. And I hear particularly a lot of young folks saying, "Hey, I've got so many views here," but they think that's cool, but they're not getting any money from it. And that's wrong. You know, because I come from an era where, hey, you're supposed to get paid for that. And that era actually is coming back too. Yeah. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. So it's like, so what's next for you as far as the contest, the building? I know you're off season now, but tell us what your schedule looks like going forward.
So I think, well, I've decided September. So of this, now it's, 2025 of this year, I'll probably be competing, doing a pro show, doing my pro debut. Hopefully it'll be here in Texas. Yeah. But yeah, that's my plan. So I have a couple more months until I start a prep, and then we'll see what I've built, in this off season and see how I do in the pro league.
All right. Okay, so let's get the really juicy question out of the way. Questions. First of all, what's your favorite thing to eat?
Everything. Okay, so because I've been eating so much in off season, like food is just kind of like right now. So when I'm in prep, like it's mac and cheese, ice cream, basically anything. I get so hungry. But like in off season, because like I'm never really actually hungry in off season because we're eating so frequently. Food's just kind of like like I can take it or leave it.
And what's your favorite movie?
That's a good question. Of all time. Okay. Half of the audience is not going to know what this is, and the other half is going to be like, why? But either Signs, M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah. Signs spelled with a weird kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's about the aliens.
I interviewed him.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. Yeah. He's one of the shortest interviews I ever did. Yeah. It was, in fact, let me find it real quick because it's right here on YouTube. I interviewed him at the I was invited to the Variety Entertainment Summit, and in that was back in 2010, and that was a heck of a lot of fun. But he is very much as you might think he is.
I don't even have a guess at how. I just like his movies.
He comes off like a brilliant guy who's incandescently he was incandescent, you know. He comes in trying to find M. Night Shyamalan here. Well, wait a minute. Let's see, M. Night. There he is. Zenny 62. It was like only a few seconds. They were really being. There it is. Here it is. Right. Okay. All right. So I'll bring this up real quick, and we'll have some fun with Mr. Shyamalan. There, and there he is. Right. Here he was making a movie called The Devil. Here.
So were you at? The audio is not working, but were you?
Oh, it's not. Oh, you know what's going on? Because I'm glad you pointed that out. Because let me make this real quick change here. Turn off echo cancellation. Turn this back. And can you hear it now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. I keep doing that.
How did Devil come about? Really excited to see it. Congratulations on it. And
thanks. It's a story I had for a long time. And I was lucky enough to get the Dowdle brothers to direct it, and we saw it last night. The preview was awesome.
What do you think of Stephen Hawking? Because he talked about God, but not the devil. And your movie basically addresses
Well,
the
you
devil.
did see it. There's a definition of the devil that might surprise you.
Okay, you got it. Thanks a lot.
I was lucky to get that. So, you know, do I want longer? Of course. But hey, you know, I got, as I said, I shot my shot. You know, he had bodyguards around him. So, yeah. But that was, you know, what I do is I cover events like that. Oscar parties, that sort of thing. So, and that's how I was fortunate enough to be invited, not being affiliated with any other media company, but the one that I own 60% of, you know, which anybody can do, by the way. Hint, hint. You, you know. So, okay, so who's your favorite actor?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have one.
Oh, wow. And then I got a question for you about someone we just talked about, M. Night Shyamalan. Other than Signs, what other movies of his do you like? Do you have a top 5 or 3?
I like the first of the
oh, let me turn off the echo cancellation, by the way. I forgot. Or turn it on, by the way. There we go. Now, okay, let's try that again. Go ahead.
Much better.
Yeah. Sorry.
I like most of his movies. Even like the weirder ones, like what was it? The Village. I love The Village. A lot of people think that it's weird. They don't like it. And it might be like a nostalgia thing for me because I used to watch, you know, the first time I watched Signs was with my best friends. Like we were pretty young. And the alien scene scared us. And so
okay, yeah. That was
right back then.
That movie sneaks up on you.
Yeah, I mean now like the animation or the CGI, it's so bad. But back then it was so good, you know.
Yeah, right.
So it scared us. But I like the only movie I think I don't like of his was kind of recent, Old. Did you see that?
Oh, I haven't seen Old. I meant to see. Yeah,
it's not great. I didn't really like it.
What's it about? I didn't even get into, and I get on EPK. EPK is a database that you have to be invited to, and I was, but you get all the press stuff, you get all the stuff from all the movie studios, and I could have dived in there and found it, and I literally blew it off. You know, I shouldn't have. Sorry, but
I mean, it really wasn't a great movie. I don't know, some people might like it, but spoiler if anyone wants to watch it. It's about people that are like, they go to this island. I think they're on vacation or something, and something about the island rapidly speeds up their aging process. And so like the kids that were there grow up into like adults, and I think it ends up like at the end of the movie, it turns out it's some kind of experiment thing. Anyway, I kind of just checked out after about halfway through, because to me the acting was so bad, which was surprising because, you know, most of his movies, the acting's pretty good.
Yeah,
At least I think so. But
yeah, I'll say my favorite is the Unbreakable series. There's Unbreakable. It starts with Unbreakable with Bruce Willis, and then Split, and then Glass.
I love Split. I don't think I've ever seen Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, yeah, it's made in 2000, and Bruce Willis gets on the Israel 917, Israel 187 train, and it crashes, but he is the only survivor. And as the movie unfolds, he discovers that he's indestructible. And there's, in the movie, it introduces the idea that because he is unbreakable, there has to be somebody who is basically glass. But that concept isn't fully realized until two movies later. But Unbreakable on its own is a classic.
Okay.
Yeah, and Bruce Willis does a great job of playing, well, the everyman and he realizes if he touches you, or he just runs into you, he can read your brain, and read your thoughts and figure out if you're going to do something bad. He knows you're going to do it, and he'll follow you and stop you. And so he took on this hobby of doing that, a dangerous one. If you think about it, it was dangerous in the movie. And so what he realizes toward the end that there's a person he befriends who is Samuel L. Jackson. And then he realizes that in the end it was Samuel L. Jackson that had something to do with setting it up. And what happens is that it was Samuel L. Jackson that actually caused the train to derail. He caused the accident because he was trying to he figured that because he's glass, he has to find the unbreakable, and he found him.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then Split was really more about the character played by John McAvoy, who was called the Beast, but he had 24 different characters. And Anya Taylor-Joy was in that one. And so Glass is where they all come together in this asylum. And the idea is that they're going to fight at the top of this skyscraper. But that was really a comic book. And it turned out that there was actually this subculture of people like them. And all the other people in the subculture, they had this meeting. They're people that you walk into this fancy restaurant, think everything's cool. They're having, expensive champagne and all that. And you're among them. And they are the super people. Well, they killed him. They killed them. Yeah, it's really a fascinating work of storytelling.
Well, I'll have to watch that.
Yeah. You have to. You have to watch them and watch Unbreakable, then Split, and then Glass.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I've seen Split, so that goes with the first one.
right. Yeah. So
Didn't know that.
yeah. So it's Unbreakable first, and then Split, and then Glass. Yeah. Yeah. So you're started in the middle. You either go back or forward.
Good movie.
Yeah. Gosh. Hey, so I'm gonna let you we'll close out. Yeah, because I don't want to hold you for another hour because you'll get mad at me. Hey, tell them your primary website or for a way that they can follow you.
So on Instagram, Hannah Hussein, Hannah _. Hold on.
Yeah, I think it's
Wait, did I get this right? It's Hannah _Hussein 13.
Oh, I'll get it. Let's see here. Instagram.
Oh yeah.
I've got Hannah. There we go. Okay. And I'll get the there. And then I'll bring this. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. Share screen. And here you are. Right there. That's yeah.
And so I have a link tree that has all my websites on it.
Oh, let me zoom in here and then zoom in again here. That's a hot picture, by the way. Wow, who did the photograph for that one?
Jay Rusevich. Oh, you probably just went to my story.
Oh, okay. So yeah, who did this?
Jay Rusevich. So
Wow.
I have a whole album of his. Yeah, he's an amazing photographer.
Wow, great, fantastic job. And then here's your latest photographs.
Yep.
A Naughty Noel.
So that's Hustler, actually.
Oh my God, you were in Hustler.
Yeah, I was the centerfold for Hustler.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Is that on lockdown or something, or is it just?
No, it should.
It's interesting. It's not opening like I want it to open. Let's see. Let me go back here. Scroll down.
Go to the
Flex appeal. And then scroll. Something weird there. I don't know why that is. That is maybe Instagram is something's wrong with Instagram right there. Oh, there's there it is. Look at that. Wow. See that? Wow. Legs.
Yeah, those are my legs.
Wow.
It would if it was full screen, you could see the whole thing, but
So folks, and they went to check. Whoops, that's not what I was looking for. That is there. Okay, whoops, that's Andrea Shaw. How come it's not letting me go back here to where I was? I had.
What kind of computer do you have?
I have a Mac.
Okay. Oh, so do I.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't have Apple.
Oh, well, there's your story.
Yeah, there's my story.
Yeah, great hammies.
Thanks.
Wow. So who does your photography there? Same person or?
So that was just training in my gym. That was just my training partner.
Oh, cool. Oops. Nope. And wait a second here. That is go back. And now if I hit X, it should take me to you, but it doesn't. This is really let's see there. Nope. Why is it not letting me do what I want to do?
Maybe it's a different tab.
I think let's see here. There you are, so I'll click on that. There. Okay, now we're at there you are.
Yeah.
What's your favorite body part? What body part do you with your legs to me, but that's me.
Yeah. Thanks. My back. I think I like my back.
Yeah, you do have an incredible back. Yeah. You have the V shape going.
I actually haven't been doing a lot of back pictures lately. I just noticed as you're scrolling through.
Do you have a favorite pose?
My lat spread for sure.
like here?
No, I think I do have a lat spread in that one, but no, the one where like I'm flaring my shoulders,
Let's
kind
see.
of like
Did I pass? I think I passed by it.
like the
Going up, going up, going up, going up.
like that one in the middle.
Right
I do-
here.
Yeah, right there. So
So I'm trying to get it to enlarge. And that's what's going on. It's not enlarging for me for some particular reason related to the browser itself. That's interesting.
but yeah, that's the pose. Or even that one in the red right there.
Yeah. Now this one is my favorite over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm a leg man. What can I say? That's it. Yeah. Well, check her out, folks. I don't want to steal too much of her thunder there.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This is great.
Hey, thank you. We'll have you back, definitely. Hey, so folks, I'm going to have more on the Oakland election for those of you who pay attention to the Oakland election. Also, I want to say if you happen to be in Las Vegas, my half sister is missing, and I need everybody's help in trying to find her. So that would be quite grand if you're on Twitter or something like that. Just retweet. I will show you. I just found out yesterday that she's missing, and so it is been a rather horrifying place to be. I will stop that screen and I'll present this screen. So anything that you all can do, you just if you're in Las Vegas, spread the word. Here it is. That's Amanda, my half sister, and she's missing in Las Vegas. Last seen at the Courtyard Homeless Shelter Christmas week. Okay, so we'd appreciate everybody if you do that. And Hannah, thanks for your ear before we got started. It was quite a lot. And so I'm in the stream. I'm pushing a button. Hannah, don't move a muscle. And folks, thank you very much for your support. And remember, support strong women. Give them a pose of some kind.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
Take this off again. Remind me next time we do this. I'll wear something different.
You got it.
Here's my.
There you go. Let me give a solo layout. So yeah, there you are. Perfect. All right. And
Thanks for listening, everyone.
you got it. Definitely. All right. And that ends the stream. Got it.